only on DD India.
Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, EU foreign ministers meet in Brussels, focus on Russia-Ukraine conflict. EU moves closer to 13th package of Russia sanctions. Hungary remains sole naysayer. European Union launches Red Sea naval mission against Yemen's Houthis attacks. Says Houthis attacked 2 ships in the Gulf of Aden. Say British vessels attacked on Sunday are at risk of sinking. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi ushers in a new era of development in Jammu and Kashmir. Focus on setting up Indian Institutes of Management, All India Institute of Medical Sciences to Viksit Bharat plans. India's Asian Games medalist Anush Agarwal creates history in Equestrian, secures India's first Paris Olympics quota in dressage discipline. The European Union is aiming to get its 13th package of sanctions against Russia over the line by the 2-year anniversary of the full-scale offensive in Ukraine. The 27 European Union foreign ministers discussed the conflict in Brussels on Monday. 26 of the 27 member countries joined in support of the sanctions. It would complement a £50 billion financial support package for Kyiv and a move to set aside profits from Russia's immobilized sovereign assets. Hungary remained the sole naysayer, which said imposing more European Union sanctions on Kremlin makes no sense and only hurts the bloc's economy. The EU foreign ministers also reiterated their calls for Israel not to launch an assault on the Gazan city of Rafah, which has become the main shelter zone in the stricken territory. The bloc's foreign policy chief, Josep Borrell, said foreign ministers from 26 states had agreed on a statement calling for an immediate humanitarian pause that would lead to a substantial ceasefire.
The 26 expressed its support to this statement and produced a new one, which is basically the same one that I issued during the weekend, but with an additional statement, additional paragraph, which is to require an immediate humanitarian pause that would lead to a sustainable ceasefire, to the unconditional release of hostages, and to the provision of humanitarian assistance.
The European Union's foreign ministers also gave the green light for a defensive mission in the Red Sea to safeguard civilian cargo ships from Houthi attacks. The decision was made in collaboration with India's existing anti-piracy efforts in the Indian Ocean. DD India's correspondent Alex Cadier reports for more from Brussels.
Well, as they so often have, Russia and the Middle East dominated discussions among the EU's 27 foreign ministers here in Brussels. Protecting civilian cargo ships in the Red Sea was very high on the agenda. Officials here announcing a new mission to try and achieve that, but stressed the mission is defensive and will focus on escorting ships through those areas targeted by Yemen's Houthi rebels and not striking Yemeni territory. The mission will be led by Greece, and Italy, France, Germany and others have said they'll be contributing ships. The mission will work alongside the US-led coalition in the Gulf of Aden and will coordinate with India's anti-piracy mission east of the Red Sea. EU officials have told me they discussed and coordinated their plans with their Indian counterparts. The question now, both for the EU's mission in the Red Sea and for new sanctions in Russia, will be about impact and whether or not the EU will be able to continue making a difference on the global stage. Alex Cadier in Brussels reporting for DD India.
Yemen's Houthi terrorists said on Monday that they had attacked 2 US ships, Sea Champion and Navis Fortuna, in the Gulf of Aden. The group said the attacks had been carried out using naval missiles. Earlier on Monday, the group said they had attacked the British Ruby Mare cargo vessel, putting it at risk of sinking and raising the stakes in their campaign to disrupt global shipping. Meanwhile, even as IDF troops continue to operate against Hamas in Gaza, Israeli military says it has recovered footage of hostage mother and children. Video footage released on Monday showed Israeli woman Bibas and her two small children being moved by terrorists in Khan Yunis in southern Gaza. The family was kidnapped on October 7th. They are among the 134 hostages still held by Hamas in Gaza. Meanwhile, IDF spokesperson Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari vowed to keep fighting until Hamas releases all the hostages.
Seeing this young mother clutching her babies, surrounded by a group of armed terrorists, is horrifying and heart-wrenching. But it is also a call for action, that we must bring the hostages home, fast. Those who have the audacity to question our need to operate in Gaza, but don't have the decency, the basic decency and humanity, to demand that Hamas release our hostages first of all. They all should take a good look at this terrified mother, Shiri, clutching her babies.
Polish farmers could block all border crossings with Ukraine from today, a move that could stop the movement of crucial supplies to the conflict-stricken nation. Farmers' unions warned last week that they're ready to escalate their agitation, which has been going on for weeks now. Our correspondent from Europe, Ishan Garg, tells us more.
Farmers from Poland are ratcheting up the pressure on their national governments and the European Union. They say cheap agricultural imports from Ukraine are hurting their livelihoods, which is why they are now blocking border checkpoints. Ukrainian officials say the flow of trucks has completely stopped in some areas. Close to 3,000 trucks are waiting at the borders, according to Ukraine's border agency. And reports say about 600 trucks are waiting on the other side to enter Poland. Poland and Ukraine share a 534-kilometer long border. Kiev argues that the blockade is not only hurting exports but also limiting its ability to bring back essential supplies in empty trucks, hurting its defenses as it continues to battle Russian aggression. Ukrainian and Polish officials have held several rounds of meetings. Polish authorities are working to assuage the concerns of the farmers who are demanding a complete halt of duty-free imports from Ukraine. Some are also concerned about EU-wide regulations which they say are adding to the cost of farming. Polish farmers had blocked routes earlier in January but suspended their protest after officials agreed to meet their initial demands. But the protest is expected to grow. Farmers from other European countries are planning to join in the next few days, and farmers' unions say the blockade will continue until March the 10th. Ishan Garg in Brussels, reporting for DD India.
Continuing with providing aid to Ukraine in its fight against Russia, Canada will donate more than 800 drones to Ukraine as part of an additional aid package to the country. Canadian Defence Minister Bill Blair on Monday announced that Canada will donate more than 800 Skyranger R-70 multi-mission unmanned aerial systems to Ukraine. This donation is part of previously announced $500 million in military assistance for Ukraine, announced by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau during his visit to Kyiv in June last year. The government said these drones, valued at over $95 million, are important for surveillance and intelligence gathering and can also be used to move supplies, including munitions. Canada is expected to deliver the Skyranger drones by early April. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Monday that Russia is exploiting delays in aid to Ukraine, and the situation in areas where Moscow's troops are concentrated is extremely difficult. Zelensky was speaking after visiting the front line in Kupiansk sector in the northeast, an area recaptured by Ukraine in 2022, but where Russian forces have been active in recent months. Zelensky has expressed confidence that the U.S. Congress will endorse a large aid package, including assistance to Ukraine, delayed by wrangling among the lawmakers.
It is now an extremely difficult situation in several parts of the front line, exactly where Russian troops have concentrated maximum reserves. They are taking advantage of delays in aid to Ukraine, and this is a very sensitive matter. Artillery shortages, the need for frontline air defense, and for a longer range of our weapons. We need joint decisions, rational decisions, to get out of this situation. First of all, our decisions with the Poles and everyone in Europe who cares about the fate of Europe.
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen is expected to seek a second term in running the European Union's executive body. Germany's opposition, Christian Democrats, are set to announce von der Leyen as their candidate for the Commission President at a party meeting on Monday. This confirms a widespread assumption that von der Leyen would seek another term. Following this, the former German defense minister is then likely to become the candidate of the pan-European centre-right umbrella group, the European People's Party, at a congress in Bucharest in March. The leaders of the European Union's 27 member countries will choose the Commission President after elections to the European Parliament in June later this year. Shifting focus to Sudan now, at least 25 million people are facing increasing hunger and malnutrition in Sudan. A 10-month conflict between Sudan's army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces has also led to widespread displacement of thousands of families. Now, according to the World Food Programme, there are 18 million acutely food insecure people within the country and around 3.8 million Sudanese children under 5 years of age who are malnutritioned. All right, let's turn focus to other updates. A fresh flashpoint has arisen in the recent days between China and Taiwan. The latest incident involves two Chinese fishermen who were drowned in waters near a group of islands close to mainland China, but under Taiwanese rule. Take a look at this report.
A tragic incident on Valentine's Day has become the cause of fresh tensions between China and Taiwan. Taiwan has defended the action of its Coast Guard after two people on a Chinese speedboat, which got too close to a frontline Taiwanese island, died when their boat overturned while trying to flee a Coast Guard ship. The Coast Guard also released footage of its personnel recovering one of the remains following the incident, which happened after a Chinese speedboat with 4 passengers on board entered prohibited waters near Kenmen's Beiding Islet, home to a military garrison.
As the speedboat was sneaking, trying to evade inspection and even drifting, the speedboat capsized and the 4 people on board fell into the sea. Then a patrol boat immediately launched a search and rescue, successfully rescuing 4 mainland fishermen, 2 of whom survived and are currently undergoing questioning by the Coast Guard. The other 2 were rushed to the Kinmen Hospital for emergency treatment and were declared dead after first aid was unsuccessful.
But China is livid. Monday saw the Taiwanese Defense Ministry saying it detected 17 Chinese military aircraft flying near its territory. Taipei also said Chinese Coast Guard personnel briefly boarded a Taiwanese tourist boat near Taiwan-controlled islands on Monday. Earlier, labeling the death of the fishermen as wicked, Chinese Coast Guard said it's strengthening its law enforcement activities and carrying out regular patrol in the contested waters. China's Taiwan Affairs Office also said the deaths had caused strong indignation in China, but that there were no off-limits waters. The decision to increase patrols raises concern about heightened proximity between Chinese and Taiwanese Coast Guard boats, increasing the risk of miscalculation and conflict. Taiwan considers itself a sovereign state, but China claims it as its own, even threatening to take it by force at a time of its choosing, despite US assuring its security. China has ramped up efforts to challenge the long-standing status quo across the Taiwan Strait in recent weeks, with Beijing also altering a flight path near the median line of the Taiwan Strait.
A landslide caused by heavy snowfall swept through the Afghan town of Mokhani in Noorgaram in the country's east on Sunday night, killing at least 25 people and injuring numerous others, according to a local official. Reuters video captured residents carrying a body on their shoulders and snow-covered buildings trapped by the avalanche. Sami Al-Haq Bayan, Nuuristan's province's chief of communication and culture, told Reuters that emergency team had been dispatched to rescue individuals trapped beneath the rubble. According to Bayan, more than 25 homes were damaged. All right, let's take a look at other stories making it to the headlines from across the world now. The Yen 2 Spring Festival, one of the largest and longest festivals, kicks off in Vietnam on Monday. The festival also features meaningful activities to honor, preserve and promote the value of the Yen 2 relic complex. The community of Yen 2 and surrounding provinces are applying for UNESCO recognition as a World Heritage Site. Astronomers have discovered a bright quasar, the brightest and the most luminous object ever observed, powered by supermassive black holes. The record-breaking black hole in this quasar is growing by the equivalent of 1 sun per day, making it the fastest growing black hole till date. Burberry's creative director Daniel Lee showcased his third brief at London Fashion Week, celebrating its 40th anniversary. The event, set in Victoria Park, featured an ode to the brand's outdoor heritage for its autumn-winter 2024 collection. Lee, who revamped Bottega Veneta, faces pressure to produce a winning collection amid a slowdown in luxury goods demand and a profit warning. A study in Nature Communications found that polar bears are at a risk of starvation due to prolonged land use during ice-free seasons. Researchers observed 20 bears in the western Hudson Bay region of Manitoba, Canada, and found that juvenile bears are most at the risk due to lack of hunting skills. You're watching DD India Live. We're heading for a short break, but still after the break, Greek Foreign Minister Georgios Gerapetritis arrives in India to participate in India's flagship conference on geopolitics and geostrategy, Raisina Dialogue, from February 21st to 23 in Delhi. The 12th edition of Milan Exercise 2024 begins at Visakhapatnam. Naval ships of Russia, Australia, Seychelles, Malaysia, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Vietnam and the US to participate in the exercise. The 4th edition of Khelo India University Games kicks start in the state of Assam. The coveted games will witness 4,500 athletes from over 200 Indian universities competing for medals.
Wherever news breaks, whatever it takes.
Connecting corners, cutting across continents.
Stories that matter from across the globe.
Accurate, authentic journalism that serves you right. From politics to glamour, from sports to world affairs, with a fusion of aesthetics and substance. Introducing news in a new avatar. Experience the world through a new lens. Stay tuned to DD India for an exciting journey beyond borders.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Live. In a significant step towards all-round development of the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate key development projects today. Prime Minister will inaugurate and lay the foundation stone of multiple development projects worth over 32,000 crore rupees, aimed at strengthening the civic and urban infrastructure across Jammu and Kashmir. The projects relate to several sectors including health, education, rail, road, aviation, petroleum, civic infrastructure, among others. Also, Prime Minister will inaugurate the newly constructed wing of All India Institute of Medical Sciences, India's premier medical institute at Samba in Jammu, the foundation stone of which was laid in 2019. Foreign Minister of Greece, Georgios Gerapetritis, arrived in India's capital, Delhi, in the early hours of Tuesday. He will be participating in the 9th Raisina Dialogue, which is scheduled to take place on from February 21st to 23rd in Delhi. India-Greece ties are based on shared cultural values, a commitment to foster economic growth and collaboration in the field of security and defense, shipping and maritime, and are marked by convergence on regional and global issues. The two countries have also been cooperating closely in various multilateral forums. The Raisina Dialogue is India's flagship conference on geopolitics and geostrategy. It is organized by Ministry of External Affairs in India with collaboration with Observer Research Foundation. India is hosting a 9-day mega naval exercise in Visakhapatnam. which got underway on Monday. More than 50 countries are taking part in the 12th edition of Milan exercise, which is being held at Visakhapatnam. The 9-day naval exercise would be a platform for the participating navies to share ideas to enhance security on the high seas and ensure safety of maritime commerce for growth and prosperity of all. In addition to building bridges of friendship and strengthening of relationship, sea exercise would enhance interoperability, enable exchange of best practices, and also will boost confidence to undertake missions together in the future to tackle common challenges. India's Navy Chief Admiral R. Harikumar praised the role of Indian industry in achieving self-reliance in defence sector by 2047 at the inauguration of the manufacturing plant of Knight Defence and Aerospace Limited in Maharashtra's Pune.
Congratulations on this inauguration of this great facility on the occasion of the birth celebration of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. What an auspicious day to inaugurate a facility like this, which is strengthening our ability to make our own weapon systems in our country, in line with the national vision for Atmanirbharta. The Indian Navy is committed to Atmanirbharta.
Amid ongoing tensions in Sandesh Khali in the eastern Indian state of West Bengal, India's Supreme Court on Monday rejected a plea for a CBI or an STI investigation. Meanwhile, a 4-member team of the National Commission for Women, including Chairperson Rekha Sharma, visited Sandesh Khali in West Bengal on Monday. The NCW team, who is on a 2-day visit, talked to local women, including the woman who complained against the ruling party TMC's Shibu Prasad Hazra about gang rape. National Commission of Women chief said that there are many complaints of molestation against the local Trinamool Congress leaders and their associates. Several women in Sandesh Khali have accused local TMC leader Shah Jahan Sheikh and his supporters of land grab and sexual assault. President Draupadi Murmu arrived at Port Blair today and is on a 5-day official visit to Andaman and Nicobar Islands. On her first day of the visit, President visited the cellular jail at Port Blair in the Union Territory of Andaman and Nicobar Islands and paid homage to those who were exiled and hanged as political prisoners in colonial India. Later in the evening, the President was accorded with a civic reception in Port Blair, followed by a cultural program. Addressing the gathering, she said that Ireland's blue economy has greatly contributed in India's economy.
इस द्वीप को की ब्लू इकोनॉमी का भारत की अर्थव्यवस्था के विकास में महत्वपूर्ण योगदान रहेगा। मुझे बताया गया है कि इस द्वीप समूह से पिछले एवं अन्य मेराइन प्रोडक्ट्स के निर्यात को बढ़ावा देने के लिए कई कार्य प्रगति पर है। इस द्वीप समूह के स्वच्छ पर्यावरण और इकोलॉजी का संरक्षण करना अत्यंत आवश्यक है। विकास कार्यों और पर्यावरण संरक्षण के बीच संतुलन रखते हुए हमें आगे बढ़ना होगा।
Let's take a look at other stories making it to the headlines from across India now. India's Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal said that the Indian government targets to increase the Indian economy from current $3.7 trillion to a $30 to $35 trillion economy by 2047. He also added that the government's ambition is to make India a fully developed nation by 2047, and all efforts are being made in this direction. The protesting farmers in India have rejected the Indian government's proposal of purchasing crops at the MSP. Farmers will continue their march on 21st of February. Amid the ongoing farmers' protest, the Indian government has given a proposal which guarantees MSP on pulses, maize and cotton, which will be supervised and managed by 2 government agencies. The chairman of the High-Level Committee on a One Nation, One Election and former Indian President Ramnath Kovind held consultations with former Chief Justices of India, Justice Deepak Misra and Justice S.A. Bobde, who gave their considered opinion on the elections. The committee is exploring the options of conducting simultaneous election at centre and state level in India. 120 Miss World participants embracing the Indian attire gathered at India Gate in New Delhi to celebrate cultural unity. India is hosting 71st edition of Miss World pageant from February 18 to March 9th. With the latest edition, the coveted international beauty pageant is making a return to the country after nearly 3 decades. Let's get to updates from the world of sports now. Anush obtained India's first quota in Equestrian for the Paris 2024 Olympics in dressage, the Equestrian Federation of India announced on Monday. Agarwal, who had previously won a historic individual bronze medal in dressage at the 2023 Asian Games, has obtained the quota for India based on his performance in the 4 FEI events. In Hangzhou, Agarwal rode Ethro during his medal-winning run. The quota belongs to the country, and Equestrian Federation of India will conduct a trial before sending the final name for the Paris 2024 Olympics. The quota obtained by Agarwal was the 40th for India at the Paris 2024 Olympics to be held in July this year. The 4th edition of the Khelo India University Games kick-started in the state of Assam on Monday. The Khelo India University Games officially gets underway with the 7 northeastern Indian states, Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Sikkim, Nagaland and Tripura hosting the multi-sport event for the first time. At the Games, medals will be offered in 20 sports with around 4,500 athletes from over 200 Indian universities competing for medals. The event scheduled for today will have major sporting events including swimming, men's football, table tennis, hockey, shooting and archery, along with highlighting India's indigenous games like Malakhamba and Yogasana. Almost 1,000 people participated in the annual Copenhagen Light Festival, a 7.7-kilometer run, jogging or walking through the city wearing battery-powered LED light trains. The festival, now in its 7th year, features illuminated bridges, buildings and light art. Participants enjoyed the beautiful weather and the magical atmosphere while the event continues until February 25th. All right, that's it in this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and also Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Gaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.